Hey, what's up, coin fam? Have you ever come across old dirty coins like this one right here? Don't spend them right away. Your dirty coins could be coins worth money. If you're lucky enough, you might even make money in 2024. Let's start off with this 1932 Washington quarter. Because of extreme wear, you can only see half the date, and look at Washington's eye. It looks sunken in and eerie. The back of this coin is looking slightly better, but not much to speak of. How much is this thing worth? Well, it is silver, so we know it's worth more than 25 cents. It was graded by Annex and came in at a 1 on a scale from 1 to 70. 1932 was the first year for the Washington quarter. According to PCGS.com, a grade 1 for this year and mint mark is valued at $125, which is more than a grade 2. Why is that? Serious coin collectors participate in the PCGS set registry. They try to collect a coin for each grade and they register their set. Sets are evaluated and PCGS offers awards. Sounds crazy, right? Well, this old Washington nickel actually undersold at auction for $38. Here's another quarter. It's a 1976 Denver minted coin and it's everybody's favorite. It's a bicentennial quarter. This one is a little more special than others because it's a double die. A double die is when the hub or die moves slightly in between strikes during the creation of the die. This causes some of the coin features to appear doubled. The doubling is most obvious in this picture on the E in Liberty. You can see a split serif at the bottom right here. This DDO was obviously in circulation for a while and old George took quite a beating. He ended up with a solid 50 on a scale from 1 to 70. This quarter sold at auction for $211. This round piece of metal is comprised of 90% silver. This half dollar was graded poor 1. Believe it or not, it used to be a Kennedy half dollar, and the date on it used to say 1964. It was worth 50 cents, but after all these years of wear and tear, it's now worth $288. Why? Because it's the lowest grade possible, and there are collectors out there making sets based on grades, which makes them more valuable. There's no doubt this half dollar spent a lot of time in someone's pocket for many, many years. Here's a 1909 S Indian head cent. You can tell it was minted in San Francisco because of the mint mark. 1909 was the last year of the Indian head penny and the first year of the Lincoln wheat penny. This one was submitted for grading and it came back fair 15 brown. It sold at auction for $366. Here's an old dirty coin for you. This is a 1916 Denver minted Mercury Dime. 1916 was the very first year for the Mercury Dime. These dimes are old and valuable. According to PCGS, a 1916 Denver minted Mercury Dime graded a 1 is worth $450. You better check your Mercury Dimes for this year. This one graded good with a number grade of 4. It sold at auction for over $1,000. I've talked about coins similar to this one on the channel before, but never one as ugly as this one right here. This is a 1943 wheat cent, but it's not struck on a zinc-coated steel planchet like it's supposed to be. It's also not struck on a copper planchet like a penny. So what's the deal? This penny was found in change in 1965. It weighs 2.7 grams. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams. And the copper-plated zinc planchets used today weigh 2.5 grams, and they weren't used in 1943. This coin was sent to a lab to be tested. It came back as an alloy of 70 to 80% silver and 20 to 30% copper. This happens to be a planchet from the Dutch colony of Curaçao. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Curaçao.
Yeah, I'm not even close. So go ahead and blast me in the comments. The U.S. Mint supplied 2.5 million 25-cent
Curaçao
coins to the Dutch colony in 1943. Somehow, one of these planchets made it in between two crushing wheat cent dies, and this Franken coin was created. This penny graded very fine 12, and it sold at auction for almost $7,500. Here's another dirty coin. This is a 1913 San Francisco minted Buffalo nickel. The features look okay, and you can barely make out the date on this coin. This dirty nickel was submitted to Annex for grading, and it came back a very good 10 on a scale from 1 to 70. Despite the low grade, this nickel still sold at heritage auctions for almost $350. This is a very dirty coin, the dirty Mercury Dime. You might be tempted to clean this up a little bit when you realize it's worth over $2,600. But don't start your how to clean coins Google search. You should never clean your coins unless you really know what you're doing. No matter how mild you think your coin cleaning method is, when a clean coin gets inspected, they can identify even slight signs of cleaning that you may or may not even be aware of. And when you have an improperly cleaned coin designation on your slab treasure, you'll significantly reduce its value. If this coin was cleaned up, it would be worth much less than being dirty. This dime happens to be a double die variety. Take a look at the obvious doubling on some of the letters of In God We Trust. This dirty dime was graded a 4, yes, a measly 4, but it still sold for $2,640 at auction. This 1942 Denver minted Jefferson nickel might look dirty at first, but it has some natural toning. You can see some green, red, and purple towards the rim of the coin. This won't add value to the coin, but some people like the toning. This is actually an error coin. If you take a look at the reverse of the nickel, you can see where the D mint mark doesn't exactly look right. When you zoom into the mint mark, you can see part of another D to the northwest. This nickel was graded about uncirculated 55, and it sold at auction for $1,645. All coin collectors have heard about the 1909 S VDB. A lot of them used to search every handful of change looking for them, and some of us still do. The VDB is the designer's initials, Victor David Brenner. There was some outrage back in 1909 about the designer's initials on the back of the coin, so after a limited release, they were removed. That's why these are so valuable. This one graded fair 12 brown, and it sold at auction for over $1,000. Take a look at this 1942 Type 1 nickel. This is an extremely rare transition error. This is considered Type 1. You can tell the type by whether or not it has the large mint mark. Type 1 does not have the large mint mark on the reverse. Type 2 does have the large mint mark. This Type 1 1942 nickel was minted on the planchet that's for the Type 2 nickel. This nickel was struck on a silver 4.7 gram planchet. The planchet that should have been used is made of 75% copper, 25% nickel, and weighs 5 grams. This nickel was graded a 6 on a scale from 1 to 70, and it sold at auction for almost $10,000. The 1943 Lincoln cent minted on a zinc-coated steel planchet to save copper for the war. Well, that's not a steel penny. Guess again. This is a planchet error. The planchet is silver. This penny was actually struck on a silver dime planchet. If I could show you the edges, it would be much thinner than a penny. This penny graded a solid 40, but the uniqueness of the penny on the silver planchet didn't hold this back from selling at heritage auctions for $10,800. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, share it on social media. Thanks for watching.